Analysis and reaction from this City ground, though, after a huge upset here today. Forest beating Liverpool by a 0-0. Let's have a look at the goal then, Peter. It came from Joe Gomez giving away a free kick. Was it just a bit needless?
Yeah, there was a couple of moments that Gomez had. I think he's done brilliantly since he's come back into the side, but this was one of them. And once he gives the ball away there, he, Wanye, to be honest, gave him a real tough time today. And I think that was, he was the focal point today. And Gomez at times couldn't cope with him and give that away. And then from then on, it was fantastic. They get a little block. And his Cook on the far hand side just drills one across. And I think it comes off his shin or both feet together. That was back off the post, but he reacts quickest. Credit to him. He doesn't sit back and hand on head. He's ready for the next ball, and that was the moment that Forest fans have wanted for a long, long time.
They didn't have a shot on target against Brighton. How much better do you think it was for them with that sort of more natural number 9 up there? Yeah,
and somebody who's willing to work hard and get around the centre halves. Listen, he'd have gone into this game knowing he's going to be in for a rough, hard time against Van Dijk and Gomez off the back of a couple of good performances, notably Man City. So he knew one thing he had to do was work hard, run, be a winning runner. And when the ball coming in around him, he made it difficult. He's ugly to play against. Not everything's pretty with him, but he's very effective, as we saw today. And listen, the truth be told, this result didn't really flatter Nottingham Forest. They had a couple of opportunities in this game. Alisson come up big a couple of times. So Cooper can be very, very proud of his team. But he spoke about having a focal point as a number 9. He may just have stumbled across one.
Against his former club as well. Jurgen Klopp spoke to us before the game about what a threat he could be. Are we going to see a lot more for him now in that starting lineup for Forest?
I think Jurgen Klopp expected Forest to sit off and be deep, and he talked about having to break down a low block. That kind of didn't happen until later on in the game when Forest were tiring. They were having to soak up a lot of pressure. Maybe it wasn't quite what Jurgen Klopp and his team expected. The fact that they kind of tried to stop Liverpool playing out from the back to get easy possession of the ball, it was virtually impossible for Liverpool. There was at no point where likes of Harvey Elliott or Mo Salah were in particular comfortable possession of the ball and able to sort of spray the ball and drive with the ball as they can really hurt teams when they get to do that. So I think tactically they got it bang on.
Crouchy, it's tough that role, isn't it? As a number 9, being up there on your own and sometimes can feel isolated. Like, how did you deal with that?
I've played that a few times myself. You've just got to occupy the defenders, and sometimes you get so frustrated because you're not seeing enough of the ball, you're not getting the chances that you want. You just can't get too disheartened. And I thought he was a credit today. He did fantastically well.
Definitely, it's a defeat as well. I think that halts the momentum of Liverpool in a missed opportunity to make up ground on the teams above them. Let's get the thoughts of Jurgen Klopp with Des.
Jurgen, it must be hard to process all of that so quickly after full time, but can you give us a verdict on that performance?
Yeah, the performance I can kind of explain. The result not, to be honest, because I never saw a game where one team has, I'm not sure, 4 or 5 no-brainers from a set piece where we have to finish it off. The way they defend, we were perfectly prepared for that, and we had always a free player. I don't know, Bobby first half, Virgil I think 2 times, 3 times, I'm not sure. So there you have to, actually put the game to bed, to be 100% honest, because the goal they concede is a big mistake from us, where we lose the ball, give them the free kick, and then that can happen around set pieces, how we saw in all other situations as well. Apart from that, all the chances they had, we gave them, because we played in the first half just too often wrong passes in the centre. We didn't want to do that, but it happened anyway. We saw, and always when we used the wing, then they were open because they closed the centre that much. Little underlaps were possible on the wing, crosses, passes, everything was possible from there. But that will not be a free-flowing performance. It was pretty clear before the game. We had to make really late changes and, in general, a lot of changes. And then it's a game which you have to win by purely doing the right stuff again and again and again. And obviously we didn't, and that's why we stand here and lost the game.
And we've been talking about consistency throughout the season. It's hard to believe that a side that could beat Manchester City and West Ham and then put that performance today. That's not the consistency.
No, it's our situation had nothing to do with that. But now, of course, you're right with consistency. But we have 6 days with a really limited squad, playing 3 games, high intense games. But the first one was City, which is super intense, and then you have to go full distance in midweek, and then Saturday again, and that's how it is. We cannot change that, and you have to fight through. That's what we do, but. Result-wise, we should have showed consistency today, because you cannot show consistency when there's absolutely no chance for consistency with the players you can line up. But result-wise, we could have had it by just finishing the situations off.
And again, on to Amsterdam next, with barely a time for a breath.
Yeah, but that's nearly holiday, because we play now on Wednesday. So that means Sunday, Monday, Tuesday to recover and prepare them for Amsterdam, of course. I hope 1, 2, 3 players will come back. Then we can make changes again. But that's how it is. So it's the situation.
And some credit to Nottingham Forest to know the endeavour they showed.
Fight, but it's Premier League. They're all good and they're all fight. But giving a team 6 clear-cut chances after a set piece, I'm not sure where I should now put the praise on, to be honest. The things we did, they're a great team. Steve is a fantastic manager, really. So what they do is, but for us today, we have to win here. Done. But we didn't. So credit to Nottingham, but in the situations, there was the goal, it was us against the goalie or us against ourselves, and not us against Nottingham Forest. So because nobody defended Bobby in these moments, nobody defended Virgin in these moments, we're just free. But we didn't use it. So if we use all of them, then you ask a different question.
Thanks, Jürgen. Thank you.
Yeah, Jürgen Klopp talking about the injuries, the changes he's had to make. One of them coming really early this morning with Thiago getting an ear infection. How much do you think they are being hampered by those injuries and the changes he's having to make?
Listen, there's no doubt that the injuries they've had to big key players as well is affecting them. It's going to affect any team. You take 4 or 5 big players, starters out of any team, including Man City, it's going to take the edge off their performances. And they've been going well recently with that in mind. And sometimes it's like, you can get through a cycle of games and then you're going to come a cropper. And I think today was one of those games. Like he said, they've had 3 really highly intensive games leading up to this where they've done well. And they just couldn't get it over this one. This morning, 5:30, Thiago goes down with an ear infection. So they just keep mounting up. You see players going down in the game and you think, oh, not another one. But I think in that interview there, he's obviously frustrated. But I think if we're going to speak to Cooper at some point, he'll be sitting there going, we could have had 3 or 4 today. So it's not only that Liverpool had chances, Virgil van Dijk could have probably another day had a hat-trick, but you could say that Alisson was one of the better players on the Liverpool team in terms of the saves he had to make as well.
Yeah, Alisson had a good game, but Henderson, the star of the show today, Rachel, he talked about the opportunities Liverpool had, especially from the set pieces, but Henderson was the hero in stoppage time for Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, he was in the end. I think the back line soaked up a lot of pressure and he didn't really make too many saves to change the game until this point. This is a phenomenal save. The way he gets down so quick, see it's point blank, it's about 8 yards out, powerful header, one of the headers that Jürgen Klopp's referring to that Virgil van Dijk should have buried, but his ball's almost behind him and he's reaching and scooping, and to have such a strong arm to be able to deflect it, not just wide of the goal but out of the goal, unbelievable. And you can see what it means to him and you can see what it means to the fans.
What does it mean for his World Cup chances?
Well, I don't mean short on confidence, but you have to back yourself as a goalkeeper, because often, a lot of people, you're in for a lot of negativity or a lot of, you're the superstar on occasions, but very often you can also be sort of the villain at times. So you've got to be confident. Technically, I think he's excellent. They didn't play out from the back particularly today, and I think that, again, was part of the tactics from Steve Cooper. Get the ball down the far end, away from danger. But he's got that in his locker, certainly. He's not going to supersede Jordan Pickford, but he's there or thereabouts.
Steve Cooper has said that they're very lucky to have him. I'm sure he's feeling that even more so today. We can hear from the Forest boss with Des.
Steve, you must be absolutely proud of that performance.
Oh, extremely proud of the performance. We needed a win. Obviously, we've not been on a good run. So there's a couple of important factors to the result today. One is how desperate we were for a win. Also, there is a lot of nostalgia and history to this fixture, and it was an important day for the football club. Like we said before the game, getting back to the Premier League was for today's like today. So to think that it's gone the way it has, I know, pleases many generations of supporters, and that pleases me as well. But you know, brilliant effort from the lads. We needed good moments at both ends of the box, the pitch today, in both boxes to beat a team like Liverpool. That needs to happen, and we scored a well worked set piece. Could have scored maybe one or two more. Alisson's made the save of the game, and I know Dean's made some big ones as well. And in the end, you know, the game was probably always going to go the way it looked in terms of Liverpool having most of the ball and territory, but defensively I thought we were excellent, and we looked more of a threat today than we have done in previous games. So it's progress, but that's all it is. It's a win. It's a little bit of progress. Mentality now to get back into work and work even harder.
Big bit of progress, though, in terms of belief and the confidence in the squad.
But yeah, Des, I understand that, and winning is the best way to get that. But on the run that we've been on, never once have I looked at the guys and thought that they're hiding, they're shying away, sulking. Training has only got better, and that reassured me. So yeah, you know, like I said, we were hard done by at Wolves last Saturday. It could have been. It was a kick in the teeth how we didn't win the game or didn't get something out of the game. So certain things went against us, and then we go to Brighton and get something there, which is a good point. And then obviously that gives us a bit of confidence going into today. And playing in front of these supporters is always a help, as you know. What
a roar they gave you at half time as well. Encouragement, just for hanging on for that first 45 minutes.
Yeah, but it's been like that every single game, honestly, and last year as well. So. They played a massive part today, and I'm just really glad that the players give them a day to remember, really. Like I say, internally no one's getting carried away. It's 3 points, one that we were desperate for, but I know how important this will be to the supporters, and things like that always mean a lot to me.
Great decision to start Ioane. Lovely goal.
Well, like I said before the game, we needed a fresh team today, and at the end of a 3-game week and 2 away games with travel and a late arrival back to Nottingham after Brighton. You're constantly monitoring the physical status of guys with fatigue and things like that. And it was just, we have options and to change the team, and we felt T could be a real handful today for the centre-backs in the way that Liverpool play, and he proved to be that. And then we can make the changes that we did, and that's why, you know, we nearly get a second. Yatesy does amazing with Morgan, and managed to see the game out.
Feel like a turning point of the season, perhaps?
Well, we've got to make it that, and that's what we've just said in the dressing room. You know, it's a winning mentality is when you win, it's about doing better the next time. You know, and we've been fortunate to feel that last year. Me personally, in some of the experiences I've had over the years, you know, winners keep winning, and it's not about getting complacent. It's like I said, the only thing today is one win. You know, and we've been on a poor run, but it's a great win, and it's. You know, I just want to see the boys even hungrier now when we return to the training ground, because that's what it's going to take. You know, we're still not in the league position we want to be in. We still haven't got the points tally we would have hoped to have had by now. So, yeah, it's a hopefully a start of a turn, but we're in control of that.
Thanks, Steve. Congratulations.
You do. Thanks, mate.
It's one win, but it feels like a very significant win. How do they make it a turning point then, Peter?
Well, I thought he spoke really, really well there. And I think anyone from outside of Nottingham looks at the league table and people are sacking managers. You know, Leeds, the manager's under pressure. Aston Villa have sacked their manager. Brendan Rodgers is under a lot of pressure. Not from anyone sort of inside of Nottingham or Nottingham Forest. Was he ever going to be under pressure? I think they believe in what he's trying to do. I think, yeah, results have been disappointing. But today you could see a team that was playing for their manager, that was playing for the fans, that could potentially get them out. I mean, I think he made some good changes today. Ioane coming in up front, and Brennan Johnson's had a lot of weight on his shoulders for a young man over the course of the last few seasons, and to take him out and play him up front was a fantastic decision.
Has that been the big difference, do you think, for this club? Peter's saying there that, you know, even though he has been under pressure, the fans are just desperate for him to do well.
Yeah, well, this club has known great times. I mean, years, and we saw the clips before the game, Champions League, European Cups, the Premier League, when it opened, they were here. We saw the clip with Teddy Sheringham getting the first goal. They've had moments in this Premier League where they want to get back here. So, but they have to be consistent with their beliefs and their fundamentals and their values. And yes, they've had a crazy transfer window, record-breaking transfer window in the amount of players they've brought in, but they've remained consistent about one thing which is vital, and that's the manager. And I think the manager is the driver of this ship, and you've got to be consistent with him. He's done fabulously well to get them to this point. You can't then now give him the keys to the treasure chest, open it up, invest in all these players, and then after a few games go, right, see you later. He's done great work here, and I think he'll continue to do that. He just needs that time. And I think in football, the word time, as we've seen already with Stevie this week, isn't afforded to everybody.
But for him, how significant could it be, the World Cup break? Could he be really one of the main managers to benefit for him? Because he's got so many new signings and he's effectively going to get another pre-season with a lot of them. Yeah, and I think he will have plotted out, utilising that World Cup and a lot of squads of other teams being away and him actually having the majority of his squad here to work with and continue that and having that second kind of wave of preparation, really. But I think the game today is a benchmark. He will expect the effort levels, the unity, the way that each unit has worked together today. He'll expect that as a bare minimum for any performance moving forward. And if he gets that level of execution of a game plan out of his team as a bare minimum every game, they're going to plot their way up the table. But yes, absolutely. This period of time now, get through this Arsenal game, and then he's got a break to really galvanise and really put into hammer home what his philosophy is. Yes, it's Arsenal next, but he does have Brentford and Palace at home before the World Cup as well. Is it about trying to really utilise those home games to get more points on the board before that break? Yeah, the Arsenal game looks difficult. They're in great form, but this place could be a fortress. You know, we heard it before the game. The atmosphere was electric at times. If they can do that for not just the Liverpool games, but those Brentford games, the Palace games, as you say, then they'll be okay. I think I heard you say on a podcast that they were gone, they were down. Do you still feel that? I think it's going to be difficult for them. I still think that. And I just the fact that they brought so many players in and they've got to then get those players together and build a team and a unity. We saw good signs here today. But it's about, listen, I've been in a change room when I was at QPR. Crouchy, I'm sure you guys have been in it too, where a result like this can come along and you can get it, but it's about sustaining that and making that a consistency and making that a consistent performance to get these rewards. It is still very difficult to do that. Like we say, this is a great result today. Next game's Arsenal, top of the league. This could all disintegrate the good work done today if they have put in a bad performance and get battered that day. I hope it doesn't happen. But so it's on a knife edge still, the good and the bad. So they've got to find a level of consistency. I think they've got to find balance within the team, which is the big part for Mr. Cooper and his side and his staff. But great signs seen here today. Going back to basics has really helped, though. That's 2 clean sheets now, and he's talked about adding those layers. So what is he going to be working on this week, do you think, ahead of that Arsenal game? Yeah, clean sheets, and they matched Liverpool for shots on goals as well. So we talked about kind of first and foremost was stopping that being breached too easily and conceding goals. They've done that now over 2 games. And they've also then added to be a problem for Liverpool today. So they've added kind of in that final third. Yes, it wasn't kind of glossy and it wasn't particularly free-flowing. But in some ways, not having... Yes, they've got the striker, Awoniyi, who got the goal today. But we talked about capitalising from set pieces, maximising the opportunities. He talked about almost controlling the things you can control, the things that you can do. And that was working on set pieces, utilising those areas where they felt they could get success. And they did. But if you don't have an out-and-out go-to player, which I can't see, I've not seen today, their unity, their togetherness, their work rate as one, if that doesn't kind of spur them on to want to continue doing that, then I don't know what would.